silly, generous, and opinionated? Or creative, adventurous, and studious? Want to know which Book Interrupted member you're most like? Try visiting www.bookinterrupted.com/members to find out.
Parental guidance is recommended because this episode has mature topics and strong language. Here are some moments you can look forward to during this episode of Book Interrupted.
Yeah, it's just an idea. Like, it's just a story that we all think sounds good, but nobody actually has them.
A blankie, or it was just a signifier. It was a signifier that I wanted to identify new self-concept.
You mean like you do this recently? Sounds like you're confessing a little bit.
I know.
Worry that if I leave the burning house, I won't be okay.
We are not in harmony with nature. We've given power to imaginary constructs.
What are they? Such a good.
What am I agreeing to?
Mind, body, and soul. Information is the goal. Try to learn something new without being distracted. Mind, body, and soul. Information is the goal. Try to learn something new without being disrupted. Mind, body, and soul. Inspiration is the goal. And we're gonna talk it out on Book Interrupted.
Welcome to Book Interrupted, a book club for busy people to connect and one that celebrates life's interruptions. If you'd like to join along, this book cycle is from August 1st to September 5th. It's Leah's book pick, and we're reading Sapiens by Yuval Noah Harari. Sapiens explores how human history has shaped our societies, the plants and animals around us, and even our personalities. Let's listen in to this episode's group discussion.
Well, I'm like a third of the way into this book, so I've gotten to this point where it starts to get pretty crazy, and it's going to be good for some debates because he like talks us into this. Like, you're with him, you're like, okay, I get it, we cooperate, okay, yeah, revolution, all right, and then then we made that, and then we got that, and then he gets to like the imagination part and how like basically our ability to tell stories is what has somehow unified us to bigger and better things. So like his example, I can't remember which particular one, but he uses like the idea of Mitsubishi, let's say, like the car company. It doesn't exist. It's a story. Someone made it up. And like like everyone believes that it exists. So that's why it continues to function. And then he takes, and I'm like, okay, cool. I get that. Right. Like because we all agreed that we would believe that this is a thing, then that it happens. And if everyone stopped believing, like some tipping point, then Mitsubishi would be no more. Then he goes so far as to say, like, he applies it to human rights. And then you go,
yeah, I remember that part.
Wait a minute.
Yeah. Which
and
is
then,
a concept, not a right.
Yeah, it's just an idea. Like, it's just a story that we all think sounds good, but nobody actually has them.
Thing.
Yeah.
We decided to have them. Yeah. Well, let's wait till the others catch up on that.
Like the legal system too.
Everything.
Like the legal system is all imaginary.
Like it's all, and then it goes back, like that stupid book, The Four Agreements. It goes back to that, like, we're all living a dream. Like, it's kind of true, right? Because somebody
should have done this Four Agreements book, because you guys all know it.
Don't do it.
What are they?
Such a good.
What am I agreeing to?
What am I agreeing to?
Yeah, they also say, he also says corporations, which kind of blew my mind, but made me think of that. Like, corporations are legal entities, so they're actually like in the back in the day, a person would be responsible for their businesses, or they would be sued, or they would be jailed, or they whatever. But they now made it, because of our imaginations, this corporation, it's its own entity, even though it's just a figment of our imagination. But we've all given it power. So now this corporation has a massive amount of power, but it's not real. It's like something we wrote down on a piece of paper and we had someone sign in. And if you do all these steps, then it exists.
Well, money too, right?
Yeah, money's one of the things.
Yeah, we made that up.
Like Bitcoin didn't exist. Now, now we have this new money, Bitcoin. Like, that's the thing that wasn't here however many years ago.
Yeah.
Couldn't we argue, though, that all things, that is essentially what dualism is that nothing, there's two of everything, that you don't have something that's tangible and real in reality unless you have the thought of it first? I know that's kind of separate from what we're discussing here, but in
I think you're saying the same thing. I think like nothing exists unless you thought of it first.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess the tree exists, but like it wasn't a tree until we named it. Like
it wasn't
I don't
called
know.
an oak until we named it as an oak.
Right. It could be a birch and like whatever. Like we made it up. We classified it. We categorized. That's the other thing too. I think he gets on about like how we have so many papers. Right? We're all like recording and documenting everything, and then we have nowhere to put it. So we built bigger cities to hold bigger boxes of bigger recordings. Like, and there's people specifically tasked with filing everything. And like, I mean, now it's computers, but we're all like collecting all this data all the time, I guess, to reinforce our stories. Like, I'm not even really sure. I had a time in space where I was asked to join this podcast and I had nothing to do. So I read lots of the books and I only made it a third of the way through this. So I haven't read it since, I don't even know, maybe even a year ago, kind of, because it was in the summer-ish that I started cramming. So I'm scared I won't finish either. And I almost want to reread what I already read so I can, because I, like most things, the thing that resonates with me sticks, but all of the around it that makes it valid for me to share it to anybody else gets really foggy. And so I feel like it renders me useless in talking about it sometimes.
I think that's like with any, like, that's why it's nice to own books if you can, like if you can afford to buy books, because certain books you just want to read and then let it sit. And then maybe a year later, read it again. And you can pick up on different things, like a book that's very important to you. It's nice to own.
Oh yeah. I like books that were important to me that like affected my life. I carry around with me even when I'm done reading them. I don't plan on reading them again, but like a safety blanket of sorts. Like Eat, Pray, Love was profound for me. And I carried it in my backpack for a year or more after I read it. And I just to have it.
Did you reference it? Like,
no,
did you pick it up?
No.
Oh, it's just there.
It was just literally on my person to make me feel supported.
Oh,
yeah.
I
love stuff like that. No, you're talking to someone who carried around a frog in her pocket or purse for a good year.
A real frog?
No, oh, sorry.
Like alive?
Sorry, I should have been more clear. Like a sculptor, like the poor frog. By the end of it, it's like, and I'm like, don't let me down. No, it was never alive. It was like a toy frog. But yeah, there was just something like almost, like a blankie, or it was just a signifier. It was a signifier that I wanted to identify, being a new self-concept. But in order to get there, it's sometimes a bit challenging and you fall back in your old ways. Yeah, but you just need that signifier to be, I don't know, it just feels good to have it with you. Because it's
there used to be, I have an altar of my special little things. Yeah.
You do?
I love my little thing. Yeah. Part of it's, I have multiple, but one of them's right here if you want to see it.
Well, yeah, we do.
Let's see.
Yeah.
Oh, I like that. It's a triangle.
Oh, it's a triangle.
Yeah, my buddy built this. And he originally built one for his wife for all her essential oils. But I was like, I want one. So I have like, that's a cast of my mom's teeth. This isn't ultra-worthy. This is Dr. Numb for people getting tattooed to sell.
Why the cast of mom's teeth?
Yeah. And then like my special stones.
Yeah.
We can't get past the teeth, Leah. So
I know. Well, they're so cool to see, like, that's what her teeth look like. Like, how weird. Like, that's what they look like. Like, I want a cast of my teeth.
I threw mine away. My dentist was like, keep them for a month. And I was like, well, I didn't keep them in my
mouth. They're so cool. Yeah, they're neat. I like it. I love those. Yeah, I love that. Like having something that I do that, but I didn't realize I did it till Kara talked about the frog.
The real frog. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah. I need to see the frog.
I always get afraid. Oh, I don't want to like rely on something tangible because for me, I just don't like, so I would rather, I don't know. I just feel like, what if that gets lost? And then would I worry that piece of me, then how can I get that? So if I put it all into that, so I actually try not to put value in anything tangible at all.
I like that.
If I can.
It's very Buddhist.
There's a sense of release, like Kim was saying, like I had this, I really like sticks and I had this wonderful stick. And I had like taken all the bark off and smoothed it off. Anyway, I have a whole process that I do with a different stick. Anyway, it doesn't matter. I carried this stick around and I just liked holding it and looking at it. And I'd like put it in my bag and whatever. I don't know. I had this stick for quite a while. And then one of my kids broke it. And I was like, oh
no.
Were you
and I spent the it back together, and I was like, oh, and then I was like, wait, it's okay.
Yeah.
Right?
It's
Because
not the stick.
she's more important to me than that stick. But there was like this like disappointment, and then it was done. But I'll do things like that. Like I find a rock that's a really beautiful rock or feels real nice, and I'll carry it in my pocket every day for like a year, like every day. Just I like having it in there, like, especially when I used to commute on like public transit.
You don't need to explain. Both of my daughters they stuff their pockets with rocks. Their backpacks are filled with rocks. I'm like, why?
I never grew out of it either. I do too. That's a good feeling.
I used to do something for when I was younger, but I stopped doing it when someone said like it could be like a borderline OCD, so I stopped it. But I used to, for reassurance, kind of like you guys, I used to do things in threes. Like I'd lock a door 3 times and make me feel comfortable, like it would reassure me. Or like all these little things, like just anything, tap something 3 times. Like, I don't know, it just made me feel secure if I did things in threes. I don't know, maybe because there's 3 kids. I don't know, I don't have 3 kids. I don't, like if I did things
you're
in
still
threes.
doing it.
But kind of.
Well, we're all doing things like this all the time, coping, counting in our heads, and
I love
locking the door
counting
3 times.
everything.
It's all about what is we're all self-soothing in some more obvious ways than others. I think it's more about like, is it not serving you anymore? Like, does locking the door 3 times, like you can't do something because you're like, you have to do it 3 times? Then it's like, a problem.
Then it's
like, where is the problem?
Yeah, because like with Lindsay's thing, she doesn't want to be attached or whatever, which is
Yeah,
great.
I love
and that
that
would be the
too.
problem. Like if Meredith had to stay in bed for a week because that stick got snapped, then that's too much of a commitment to your stick.
Yeah, like it's all like about
perspective.
And I think I worry. That's what I worry about. That's what would happen to me. Like I know that could happen to me if I feel that like it would be too much. So I don't do that because I'm worried that like the hole that I would go if I started doing that. Maybe.
Yeah, I think that.
Yeah, like you recognize that you don't need additional things to be worried about.
Yeah.
So part of looking after you is like minimalist approach. It's
I'm not minimalist. I have a shit ton of stuff.
No, totally.
I have
but where you can.
Stuff.
I just don't care about anything.
You don't need the things. You don't need to be. Yeah, you need to be invested in like actual things.
Yeah,
I try not teeth.
But you don't want to put like
Meredith's kids can come over anytime. Smash it all. It's fine.
Well, I think I'm also paranoid that my house will burn down. I've just since I was a kid, and so
I always think that too.
Yeah,
I've heard her nightmare.
Anyway, so I have like a couple of things. Like I know where my passport is. I know that if the house burns down, I can grab that stuff and leave, and I would be okay. Me and that's me and my passport. Even if I didn't have my passport, I would be okay. So I think in my mind, if I put more value on things, then it makes me worry that if I leave the burning house, I won't be okay. I don't know. Yeah. It's weird.
I do
it's
the
neuroses too.
Like I have the thing where I've worked out that I'll be okay with nothing because you can just re-get it. Like, you know what I mean? There's nothing that's so important, tangible thing that it should cause too much upset. But I still collect things. Yeah, I don't worry. You know what I mean? But I don't know when I came to it. I don't know when I came to it, but it has something to do with like moving and like just selling all my stuff. Maybe because I was moving across the country. So I literally went with just a suitcase, and it was so freeing. And it's like, okay, like that shelf was cool, but like there's another shelf on the buy and sell. Like, I don't know. And yeah, it's freeing.
Do we all have one item that might be not a human, but inanimate object? Do we all have one thing that we think might be the most challenging if we had to like just step away? Like if we just had to go, do we think we'd have one thing? I definitely do. As you were talking
like
about
a stuff thing?
I don't.
A something like mom's teeth molds.
No. Fuck it. Let's smash them!
I think it's my stuffed animal, like my bear that I've had since I was a
Mikey?
Yeah, like I don't know if I could go on, guys. I just don't.
I love Mikey so much.
So much.
Needs to put him up on Instagram.
Okay.
He's
wonderful.
Famous.
He's so wonderful.
Yeah. Well, if everyone can
funny?
think of what their thing is, let's share this shit.
I do have my Nana's ring. Like my Nana's ring she gave me and she's passed away. So I would be sad if I lost that. That's probably the one thing. But I don't put that much value in it. Like, it would be sad, but it wouldn't be devastating.
Yeah, I think I could eventually get over Mikey, but I would it'd take work.
I would be disappointed. Like, for me, like, I've got rid of lots of stuff moving over the years, but I don't get rid of art. So I've accumulated a lot of art, and like, I couldn't take it if the house was burning or anything. But I would constantly, probably for the rest of my life, with any new houses, as I'm hanging new art, I'd be thinking, I feel like disappointed that I didn't have those pieces of art anymore.
You would grieve their loss.
Yeah.
I would grieve their loss.
Good way to put it, Meredith. Good way to put it.
Yeah, I'd grieve their loss. But in the book, he mentions this too. He mentions how Homo sapiens, because they were hunter-gatherers, didn't have stuff. Like, humans didn't have any stuff before. So it was hard to determine things that we were into as Homo sapiens before we started like spending more time in actual places. Then we started accumulating things. But before then, because they didn't have horse and buggies, they didn't have anything to travel with. It was whatever they could carry on their back. So it was only like essential things.
No rocks. No
you leave your rock collection behind.
Yeah. Mikey's not making it.
Kara. Yeah. Sorry. Now is not Isn't that fascinating that as we started to evolve and recognize that we could be better served by not moving constantly to where the food is, but if we were to be like, no, this spot, and form more like villages and be like, and how about we purposefully plant seeds right here, that as that transition happened, what flared up was this compulsion or need or want or desire to have things and keep them.
Well, that's because you had to protect them, right? Like, you didn't have to protect anything when you're moving around because nothing was yours. But then you get this sense of ownership, and when you stay in one place, and then someone else might want what you have, and then,
tribal warfare,
the downfall of humanity.
Isn't that the whole community thing? Like, if we all just if we weren't all like, this is mine, this is mine, this is mine, and we were all like, this is everybody's. But there'd always be, I don't know, there'd always be the person that wants it all.
They even said the gorging thing, like how that's like instinctual, because when we were hunter-gatherers, if we found a fig tree that had tons of figs, you just gorge as much as you can before like other animals would discover it. So that's why like you might like gorge on like an entire tub of ice cream. But you know what I mean? Like,
you do this recently. Sounds like you're confessing a little bit.
I know. Mm-hmm. And also trying to explain make it okay.
No,
I'm
Ramadan
only
is
doing
over.
this.
I'm eating a ton
I
of
know.
ice
I'm
cream.
like, I dreamt of doing that during Ramadan, but I never like after you're done fasting, you only can consume so many things that you're like, I'm so full. I wish I could have that ice cream, or I'd make cakes and stuff and not be able to finish them. But but that's why we do it. That's why we gorge. But it makes me also think it's not like you were taking the fruit back to everyone to share or anything, because you didn't have anywhere to take it to. You just consumed as much as you could when you found it. Right? Like,
right, you don't have to think about whether you're going to share your stores or keep them to yourself because everybody just ate then.
Yeah, because you would have people gathering with you, so all of you would just gorge on this thing together.
So up until then, like, there was no pressure, evolutionary pressure, to really push towards the community of sharing food, let's say, or belongings, maybe.
You would share what you found. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
So then it wouldn't have been labeled selfish to gorge out and not be like, hey, everybody over here. Like, it would be not.
No, it would be for sure.
You would have to, so that everybody could survive, because you survive as a group.
It would be harder for you to drag your sick person along that you didn't give the figs to, right? The starving person. Like, you want to
bring them with you.
Because you need to exist in numbers, because there's other predators out there, so you want to keep yourselves strong. It's
just highly practical. All of it is so highly practical. Even in that, like, it's nice to think about things in a global sense and we all take care of each other, but it always just comes back to the same thing. Like, just take care of you, yours, and your community, your smaller community. And it's like, that if we all can do that, take care of it. Don't worry about the whole planet. Worry about your little planet.
I think it definitely is hard to think about to think about yourself as a global community. And part of that comes down to empathy, like having empathy for people you've never met and feeling that they have empathy for you. I mean, that's the connection part that we got from the last book, like connecting with people that you have never met, but then also trying to get into that mindset that we all affect each other, right? Like
it goes both ways. Like if you wanted to be selfish, if you were like 100% self-motivated, then it behooves you to invest in your community because the survival of one depends on the survival of many. So even like with the global empathy point, it almost is not necessary. It's great and enlightened if you can do it that way and consider the all. But if you just bring it right back down to yourself, you're not going to survive if you behave in certain ways. And I think it matters. Like, I think it needs to be inclusive of the planet. A lot of the problem in this day and age is nobody's thinking about how there's a big separatism between nature and man. And I think that we should be focusing on kind of reintegrating because we're not actually separate. So just like how we want to be good for the global community, we also want to be good for the natural community of which we are a citizen, which we like to pretend we're outside of and maybe even in charge of, and we're not. And so the survival of us also depends on the survival of that.
I think it's complicated a little bit too, like with the sheer number of humans that are on Earth. We say the survival of one depends on the survival of many. And then some people start feeling, there's a certain feeling that we're overpopulating as well. And I think that can cause some people to retreat back and to say, well, I'm going to look at just this smaller community. And I think that's part of the problem. They're like, I'm just going to look at my little community and forget about those people. And that's part of the problem, is that if lots of communities are doing that, that's why like the earth is heating up. It's getting hot.
Maybe, yeah.
Well, also like the way that our ancestors lived was in harmony with nature. We are not in harmony with nature. We've given power to imaginary constructs that now dictate nature, right?
But
like they're more important.
Like the government.
Yeah, corporations, governments, money are more important than if that river is polluted or not. Like that's completely different. Like we could be one with nature and maybe, you know what I mean, and work on our small community. But now that we've created these systems that we
that try to trick us into believing that we are not nature.
Yeah, and we can't be a global community and also try to then suck back in when it's not nice to focus only on our immediate community.
Yeah.
Like you can't be both, right? And
it's a big problem.
Yeah.
And we're not special. That's another thing he says in the book. We're just one of the human species. We're just the one that survived so far.
Because of these things, which might also ultimately be our demise.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or the planet's demise. Like,
yeah, because if there's no planet, there's no us.
I think like the planet will be the planet.
I think the planet will recover whether we get to stick around.
Yeah, the planet will be fine once we're gone.
Yeah. Well, just look at the shutdown from COVID.
Yeah.
It was like 3 months and the planet was like, oh, thank God. They just stayed home for a little while. I can breathe again.
Yeah, totally. This interruption is brought to you by Unpublished. Do you want to know more about the members in Book Interrupted? Go behind the scenes? Visit our website at www.bookinterrupted.com.
Book Interrupted.
This interruption is brought to you by the theater. I got to go into a theater and watch live music performed in front of me for the first time in over a year. Oh my gosh, it was so amazing just being in the theater and just experiencing that collective energy that happens when a performer performs live for you. And I forgot how much I missed it. It was just amazing. So yay to being back in the theater and for people to be back, for getting paid and to perform as well. Great to be back in getting those industries back up again.
Book Interrupted.
Well, on that note, I'd like to do something that's not destructive, it's
productive?
Probably in poor taste. But I promised to buy another book to support Yuval Harari. And I'm cutting this fucker apart.
Oh my gosh.
I randomly picked
prepping
page
it this whole time.
259.
Totally,
it
she's
says
very
knowledge is
prepared.
power. I'm not mad at the book. I want to make it more palatable.
Portable.
Is anyone else getting heart palpitations?
Oh my god. I'm not liking it.
I need to
feel
book
like
an
it's
appointment with my
Something that we've
therapist.
been taught never to do.
Kind of
is to
something
hurt a book.
satisfying. I don't know.
And it
probably
feels
would have used
very
it.
satisfying.
It's very
because
rebellious.
It feels
I want to
very
cry. I
I'm
literally
angry.
want to cry.
I'm
This
surprised.
is like
are
a
the
conflict
papers
waiting to
in the fallout?
happen. Conflict
breathe.
waiting. It's not peace, Sarah.
Can't
It's not
breathe.
peace.
Can't breathe.
Oh.
Oh my god.
Okay, good.
Why
luck with
is this
that.
We have
causing
two
such
cards.
strong reactions?
I know it feels very book burny,
Oh,
very like
so wrong.
burning a book. Like, but
Does
I'm
feel
not
like that.
sullying it. I will read both parts.
okay.
And this is just more portable.
Okay.
Okay, this
Tell
is
me how
size.
it goes.
All
Oh my
right,
God.
and that felt
cut
very
a book.
good.
Yes, we should.
Felt
have
very
done
good,
that.
very
It did
wrong,
not feel
but very
good.
good.
It did not feel
And
good.
I will buy another copy to support Yuval Harari's work.
I can't believe we ended on this. I feel so uncomfortable.
Okay, wait.
Wonderful.
I need to go
something.
journal about this immediately. I'm
Yeah.
like,
What's
I don't
that
know how I feel about this. I need to process it.
Oddly, it's keeping together very well.
I was surprised with the scissors.
Good.
I was like, don't you want an X-Acto knife?
I know I wanted one, and I thought I had one here, but I had to have to go off camera to look.
Yeah, we like having you here.
I have
What's
one
up, Liz?
thing that's more positive. Well,
Thank
I guess
you.
that was kind of positive.
Thank
I liked
you.
that,
I was
but
trying
for
to
the
be
rest of you,
cool.
I was on the website and they said that The Guardian credited Sapiens with revolutionizing the nonfiction market and popularizing brainy books. I thought that was an interesting
positive.
way to, so because there's all the brainy books that we're all reading. So
Yeah, like I have this
love
one
this.
that's about evolution. It starts from now and goes back in
Get an
time.
X-Acto,
It's
girl.
pretty-
Let's do this.
Yeah. Oh my god.
This one is not as easy to get through.
Oh,
Very
I've heard of
interesting.
that one. Yeah.
But this one doesn't talk a lot about humans. So I'm very excited about.
Wow.
I am too, and I hope that it doesn't come across to any of our viewers that I'm disrespecting his work. I think it's a great book, and I just think this makes it more practical to carry.
I think that's great. You tell me how it goes because I'm interested in it because I hate carrying big books. So
I regret telling you that people did that now. Damn it.
You're such
It'll be a
an
glitter
enabler.
Oh yeah, you're gonna make a cover. I'm looking forward to it. Seeing
And
it.
apparently, who was Kara? Was it you that said there's a whole online community of book cutters?
Sarah said it.
Sarah,
I said it. I shouldn't have said it.
She regrets it.
I'm in good company then.
I think it's
Maybe.
appropriate if like early humans didn't keep things.
There you
It's just
go.
in your
Nothing
nature.
is sentimental if
Okay.
everything is sentimental.
and on that note,
I love it though. I
Okay.
think this is fantastic.
Great.
Sarah is like notably uncomfortable.
I'm uncomfortable.
yeah, she's like, I need to
can
go.
feel it all the way across the planet.
I need to flight. I need to flight.
She wants right now.
Sarah's like really physically uncomfortable.
Yeah.
You can smell it. Okay, well, see you guys later.
Thank you for joining us on this episode of Book Interrupted. If you'd like to see the video highlights from this episode, please go to our YouTube channel, Book Interrupted. You can also find our videos on www.bookinterrupted.com.
A book club is just a book without members. Join the community by following us on Facebook, Instagram, or sign up for exclusive content through our website at bookinterrupted.com/unpublished. We'd like to give a big shout out to our listeners. Your support makes this all possible. Thank you for the uplifting feedback and for recommending us to family and friends. We love hearing from you. Please reach out through our website at bookinterrupted.com/fans or by emailing connect@bookinterrupted.com. We appreciate you for taking time out of your busy schedule to connect with us. See you next time on Book Interrupted.
Moments you can look forward to on next week's Book Interrupted.
Because so many people are like, well, it's natural to eat this way and it's natural to be this way.
And I'm just being honest, as if it somehow protects them and heightens what they're saying.
Humans arrived, extinction. Humans arrived, extinction.
The animal part, because I was like, I might have to be a vegetarian.
But how storytelling allowed us to do all those things and not feel maybe that bad about it.
Maybe I get big old double D's put in and I say like, well, this one's for my grandmother.
Book interrupted.
Never forget, every child matters.